Morning. Just getting ready to head off for the appointment. Yeah, a little anxious. I mean, I explained all of my thoughts and feelings in in yesterday's video, so you know what's going through my mind right now. But yeah, just been kind of ignoring it all morning until now, because I genuinely don't know what the best outcome would be here. There's ups and downs to both sides of it. Yeah. The one plus side is that yesterday was the shortest day of the year. So everything now is a net positive in terms of daylight. Just trying to, look at every positive angle I can think of. I'm going to save my Advents until when I get back, because partly because I've not got time, but partly because, yeah, I want something to still be nice and look forward to. I've not really got any major plans for the rest of the day, but that was deliberate. Because I didn't know how much pain I'd be in. I didn't know what I'd feel capable of, what I wouldn't want to do. So I deliberately didn't have anything for the rest of the day so that I could just adjust and respond to whatever the appointment tells me. But yeah, luckily did all the presents. If I feel up to it later, I will do some knitting. But yesterday, my Volare cushion was perfect. If you want to know more about that, I have a whole other video on my YouTube explaining and reviewing the Volare cushion. But particularly for knitting with this on, it was really, really helpful. So I think for the meantime, that's going to be a significant staple in my knitting my knitting kit. But we will see. For now, I just need to get on with it. I'm ready, physically. I'm just right, go on. I've got to get all my paperwork together because I've got to take my forms and things that they gave me. Let's go. Hello. So the appointment wasn't nearly as painful or as bad as I was worried it was going to be. I think I was relying on last week's pain information and assuming that it would be pretty much the same as that. So we went in and they cut off the cast, which straight away was a bit of a relief because it's been getting really uncomfortable to just have my hand locked in the same position for days on end. So they cut the cast off and my whole hand was a little green. The bruise was pretty decent. A pretty substantial bruise, and it wrapped all the way around my hand and went partly down my wrist. So yeah, that was the first thing, but it didn't hurt nearly as much as I was worried it would with the cast off. I think I was so locked in on last week and how much it hurt before the cast went on, and I was assuming that it would be a fairly similar level of pain once the cast came off. It wasn't. And I cannot tell you how relieved I was. It still hurt though, especially when he was pressing on all areas of my hands. So he pressed on my fingers, he pressed on the opposite side, he pressed on this side, like my little finger side, pressed a little bit on my arm. But when he pressed around the thumb, there was still some soreness, some tenderness, and it's with the bruising and the significant swelling. He sent me for another x-ray. Now, I wasn't holding out hope that this x-ray would show anything. The last one didn't. Sometimes you can see a healing fracture. Nothing showed on this x-ray at all. They did the same 4 hand positions as last time, but nothing more was visible. But as I say, with the combined swelling, bruising and pain, they are ordering an MRI scan. Now, obviously, we are 3 days out from Christmas, so it's not going to be before Christmas. But I'm going to get an appointment for an MRI probably next week, and we will see. We will just see what happens. For now, though, they have, as you can see, they've given me a splint instead of a cast, and it's such a relief. There's so much more flexibility. I'm way less restricted. And obviously with this, it is removable. I can take it off. There is a metal part here along the bottom to support my hand and my wrist position. So it is very much still supported, but I've got a lot more freedom in my ability to move. I can take it off and properly wash my arm. Literally, as I was waiting for the x-ray, I was like, right, I'm going to pop in this toilet cubicle. And I was like gently washing my arm because it's been really annoying me that I couldn't wash it. But I can shower without having to put a bag on my arm. And generally, it's not as painful as I was worried, because one of the potential things in my head was, I mentioned that I could feel it swelling throughout the day and that the cast was getting uncomfortable. Some of the pain that I was experiencing, I was wondering if it was because my wrist was pressing on the inside of the cast. Rather than it being pain from the wrist itself, I think what might have been happening is some of the movements I was trying to make were so restricted by the cast that parts of my wrist were pressing on the inside, and that was where the pain was coming from. And I think that might actually have been the case, because I'm finding so much less pain now with it being in a splint, because it's got some flexibility to it. So I'm rather relieved about that. Although, as I say, the swelling has gone up. I think with it being poked and prodded at, it doesn't hurt massively. I mean, it's still not comfortable, and if I get it in the wrong way, then it does really hurt. But look at the swelling of my fingers compared to my other hand. Those, especially these two, and my thumb, they are so swollen. Like that finger is just compared to my other hand. So yes, we're very much still swollen, still some pain, but a lot more flexibility in my movement. But we're still assuming break with the pain levels and the swelling and the bruising and everything like that. But still, this was a positive trip, all things considered. I did treat myself to a little Costa afterwards as a celebration. I mean, I would have done it as a commiseration if the appointment had gone badly. The Costa was happening either way, just the reasoning behind it would have changed. But I did treat myself to a little Costa. And yeah. And then we've spent the afternoon just chilling. My husband has just been playing a couple of different games, and I've been knitting. I've managed over a round on my knitting, and it's significantly more comfortable. As I say, I think I was pressing against the inside of the cast, so it's a lot more comfortable. I'm still slow. I'm still agonizingly slow, but we are progressing, and that is the point. And the roses are actually starting to look really nice on the knitting, and I'm really happy with how it looks. And I do feel like I can knit more with it in its current state as well. Yesterday and the day before, I was knitting, but I was getting about a quarter of the way around, and I was like, right, I need to put it down and have a minute. And then I'd have to wait and let it settle, and then go, all right, I feel able to pick it up again now. Whereas I sat and I knitted very slowly for a good 3 hours this afternoon. So my endurance is a lot higher with this. So generally very pleased with how this afternoon's appointment went. This afternoon, no, it wasn't afternoon, it was morning. Very pleased. I still, regardless of whether or not I'm in plaster, there are still things I cannot do. I still can't drive. I can barely lift anything. I can't change gear with this. So I'm definitely still restricted on that front. I'm not suddenly able to do loads of things because I'm not in a cast anymore. It's still a potential broken wrist, but I at least feel like I can do some things, and I don't have to avoid water like I'm, H2O or something like that. I'm trying desperately not to get myself wet. I do have a lot more options as to what I can do. So very, very happy about that. Now I did leave my Advents this morning because number one, I didn't have time, and number two, I wasn't in the right frame of mind to appreciate them. So it does mean I can break into my Advents now. Now, admittedly, it's gone dark, so the colours may not be hugely representative on here, but we'll just work with what we've got. It is the 22nd today. We're still in the greys, but I'm trying to figure out, like I said, we're not in the natural light. Oh, this is a slightly more tonal grey. You can see, in fact, the tones are definitely coming through. You can see the lighter threads and then the darker patches coming through. You're just focusing on my head. You're not focusing on the yarn. One day I will get this focus to work. But that is a very nice soft grey with, like I said, with lots of different shades threading throughout. It's actually a really nice one. Can't believe there's only 2 days left. But then it's only 2 days till Christmas. So, well, 3. Like I'm counting advent calendars, but obviously it stops on the 24th. So 3 days till Christmas, 2 advent calendar days left. Right. Next one, I'm going to do loom. So it's the 22nd, which means we are doing day 11 of the Loom Advent Calendar. And this one is called Horse Chestnut. I feel like that colour speaks for itself, surely. Oh, it does. It does speak for itself. Oh, that's such a rich, warm brown. Oh, that's not nearly doing it justice. That isn't even coming close to doing these colours justice. I'm trying desperately to get it focused on anything but my head, and it's not working. I'm trying. But it's not coming through. That's actually coming through a lot more orange on the camera, but it's almost got like a red to it. This is such a gorgeous colour. Oh, imagine a cardigan in that colour. Ooh, I've only got one loom one left. I shouldn't keep doing this. I'm going to depress myself. That is so pretty. Oh, lovely. Again, that's definitely going to make it into the sweet shop blanket. 100%. And it's Monday. So today's a 3 Advent day because it's an even number and it's a Monday. Which means we have week 4 of the Camel's yarn. The packaging for this one is, I still can't get over it. She's done such a stunning job of this. Utterly beautiful. All right, we look at the yarn, then we look at the colour palette. We look at the vision board. Ooh, paler this time. Oh, this one's almost got a green to it. This is called Sargasso Forest. I'm guessing this is the sargassum seaweed. It's sort of coming through on camera. It's slightly more yellow in real life. It's almost got a golden like undertone to it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the green is definitely present. But as I say, the artificial light isn't going to help us either, admittedly. It feels so gorgeous. It feels so pretty. I'm going to have so much fun deciding what I'm going to do with these. Just because this has got to be something that goes right next to skin. With how stunning this feels. Alpaca silk cashmere. It's got to be something for next to skin. Oh, okay, let's have a look at what the mood board was for that one. All right, we're on week 4. That is what we are thinking. Oh yeah, no, those colours are spot on. Definitely. Absolutely gorgeous. No, I mean, I nearly turned the page then. Nearly spoiled the last one for me, because as much as this is the last Monday before Christmas, there is a 5th. So we do have one for Monday the 29th, which is going to be like a nice little treat to have one in between Christmas and New Year. So I'm actually very much looking forward to that, just to get that nice little bonus one. So my camel's yarn is not finished, and I will be sure to update you, because obviously Vlogmas, I'm not going to be carrying it on after the 24th, but I will definitely be sure to update you on what the week 5 of the camel's yarn advent is. Oh, that's so pretty. I did lie all of my advent in Avonlea minis so far. I lay them all down for yesterday's Vlogmas, so you've seen the fade progressing in its beautifully slow and subtle way. When they all finish, I think I'm going to make sure I do clips of all of them so that you can see what all the different advent colours were. And then I get to decide what to do with them. The loom ones I've already got earmarked for my sweet shop blanket, but the others I still need to make a decision on. But anyway, I'm going to have to go because I can smell food, which means it's probably nearly ready. There's no plan for tonight. It's just chill. I am going to have a little drink to celebrate my my successful appointment, which wasn't as bad as we thought. And that's as good as I can hope for under the circumstances. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. And that's still worth celebrating. Because tomorrow is going to be quite busy, and particularly with Madam Lefty over here, it's going to be a little tricky to navigate. So I think this is going to be some relaxing, maybe a little more knitting. We will see. And then, yeah, we're going to be all go tomorrow, because that's when things are going to start ramping up. Well, basically, Christmas starts tomorrow. Like it hasn't been going for the last 22 days, but you know. All right. Yeah, I'm going to go and get food, and I will see you tomorrow.
Another 2 chapters tonight, where the brook and river meet, and the pass list is out. Anne has the most wonderful summer away from her studies, and Marilla is inclined to give her more freedom than usual after the doctor insists she should spend some time outdoors. But Anne returns to school motivated and ready to continue her studies, despite some nerves about the Queen's entrance exam at the end of the year. Anne muses to Marilla about why women aren't allowed to preach, and confesses that even though she tries to be good, when Mrs. Lynde tells her what to do, she feels inclined to do the opposite. Marilla says Rachel Lynde just tends to have that effect on people. As the winter passes, Marilla becomes suddenly aware of how much Anne has grown and how she's changed since they first took her in. At 15, she's now taller than Marilla, and she's grown less talkative. The story club also doesn't exist anymore, as none of them had the time to maintain it. Marilla allows herself a rare moment to cry as she mourns the gentle loss of Anne's childhood. At the end of the year comes the entrance exam to Queen's, and Anne travels to town and stays with Diana's Aunt Josephine. When she arrives home, she declares that she doesn't know how she can wait a fortnight for the results, but she ends up waiting 3 weeks. One evening, Diana comes tearing through the field waving the paper that her father managed to get early. It wouldn't arrive by mail until the morning. Not only did Anne pass, she was joint first on the list, with Gilbert Blythe. Who else? Anne runs to tell Marilla and Matthew, who are both delighted, and even Mrs. Lynde congratulates her and tells Anne that she is a credit to her friends.